Chrissy from Chrissy's Beautiful Life here for Trendy Tuesday for the last episode in May. This week I am going to work with the cut file that was for the May National Scrapbooking Day. I believe it was created for, but every month we have a free cut file. Now I don't have a silhouette or anything to cut out these awesome cut files, so instead I just printed it on my normal printer, and I am going to take some of the sequins and create little awesome little sequin circles. So at first I was thinking about using it. I thought it'd be cool and that the sequins would pop off the black, but they were actually not standing out. So you're going to see that I'm trying to work with the black, but I'm going to end up cutting them out, which I was going to have to do anyways, but I'm going to cut them out and then individually do each one. Now, I'm not going to lie, this was a process. It took me a very long time, an afternoon basically, but it was fun. I put on some music and I just had my daughter that day because my son was in daycare, and I was just going along and it was really fun. And once you get into a little bit of a routine with it, it went together quite quickly, and I don't know, I love the outcome of it. So I didn't show you all of them, but I am using, and I used sequins from a bunch of different collections. I just picked certain colors and layered them up. So it's just something to do with maybe your packages that you don't really have a lot left of one thing and you just want to get them used up. This is a great way to do that. So there you can see all of them. I was originally thinking about scrapbooking this adorable photo of my daughter in a mermaid's tail thing my mom crocheted for her, but it's not going to make the cut. Instead, I'm going to pick this photo of my son playing with water, and this photo is crazy because it was taken in April. Now, normally in Vancouver in April, you cannot be playing with water. It's still freezing. Maybe not freezing, but it's still cold and definitely not water playable weather. But this last year it was. So that's what this story is going to be about. And I decided I would try to pick a couple of these border strips that I could use. I am still in the process of using up all my scraps here. And I also braved and cut this piece of paper. So this is that piece of paper from Paige Evans' Fancy Free line, her first collection. And it's the one piece I was hoarding and hoarding and hoarding. I was almost thinking about framing it because it was so beautiful. But I was like, nope, I'm not going to. I'm going to use my supplies. And I got it on this layout. And it's so pretty. It's just a little hint of it, but it's so pretty. So now that it's been cut, I can use more and more and more of it and get that piece of paper used up. I'm also going to add little pops of pink here. So I don't have an issue doing pink with boys, and because it's still May and it's kind of technically still spring, I wanted to add a few little pops of color. And the pink that was in the Fancy Free line kind of matched this, and I really wanted to use that little card that said love and have just that little pop of gold down there. So I'm liking the way that this is, and I'm going to just start working with my title. And my title I got from my little girl's looking at me, sorry. The title I just got from what I put on Instagram, and I wrote hashtag feels like summer, and I was like, well, that's a perfect title. So that's how I came up with it. I used up 3 different thickers, and these are all from older thicker stacks that I am in the process of trying to use up as well. I'm challenging myself to get them used, so don't be surprised if you see them for a little while. And here you go. I split that card in half, and I'm thinking about doing my journaling there. And then I'm going to go through, I have all of my summary type things in one little bag. And that way, when I do a layout and I'm like, oh, this is a summer theme, let me grab my summer paper and my summer embellishments. I don't have to dig through everything. I can just go to that one bag. So I don't normally organize things by theme, but I'm starting to do a few different things like that so that they're easier to access. I try to get that gold heart on there, but it just, I couldn't make it work. But I really want a heart on this layout. I want it to go on the within that awesome little cluster of sequins circles that I make, and so I'm just testing out a bunch of different ones, and none of these make the cut. I end up going back to that original die cut that says here comes the sun, or bright sunshiny day, I think is what it says. The reason why I hadn't chosen it originally was because it wasn't dimensional. So I just picked up some fun foam for the first time. I've never used it before, but I jumped on the bandwagon and bought some, and it was the perfect thing to help lift it off the page. So that worked really well. And then I'm just going to keep going through some of my die cuts here, and I find a cloud, and I also try to get these flamingos on here. I try 3 different flamingos to try to get a flamingo on there. I'm not sure why I was so determined that a flamingo needed to go on this page, but apparently I was. However, it does not make the cut, and it looks quite silly, so I'm glad it didn't make the cut because I don't actually like the way that would have looked. But here I knew I had just a few other things, so I grabbed this little cloud, and that was I figured that would work really well. So it's just gonna hide underneath that little cluster of sequins there. That's one of the bigger sequins ones that I use, and I use really big sequins when I made that circle, so it's really neat, and it kind of just helps offset that a little. So I really like that. I'm trying to use a flamingo. Wrote my journaling, and I hate it, and I was so upset. I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do now? And I just simply grabbed another card, rewrote it, and that it worked. I was a little disappointed in that, but it's okay. The reason why I hated it is because I went over the line. It had a very like notebooky line, and I went over that line, and I just didn't like the way it looked. So now I'm just going to do my finishing touches, which include fussy cutting 2 clouds that are going to go by that sunshiny day thing. A floral. This floral is from an Amy Tan line. I wanted another pop of yellow there. And because I cut that journaling card so you could read the thing that says, here's the story, I wanted to add a few little pieces. So I just add a couple little word phrases there. I think one says best day and one says sunny day. So that worked perfectly. And then I'm loving the layout, but it's missing something up by that little tiny pink circle. It's missing something. So I went through and was looking, and I have this big sunshine word. So I cut it and tried to see if it fit, and it did. So that is my finishing touch, is adding the word sunshine. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we will be back in June with so much fun things. Oh, you're gonna love June. It's gonna be a really fun month, so stay tuned for all of the fun we've got coming up for you, and enjoy the rest of your month. You have one more day of May. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.